Now, we are tracking still a strong line of storms coming in from Oklahoma. It is significantly weakened, but there's still some threats with it. We still have winds 60 to 70 miles per hour blowing across Cherokee County, headed into Delaware and Adair counties, and we see this severe thunderstorm warning that does get into northwest Arkansas as well and clips Sequoia County, mainly north of I-40, Sallisaw north towards Brushy, and Red Oak as well. All right, and we've got storms also towards the south, but these are not as strong. Still some heavy rain that's going to be coming towards LaFleur County. But essentially, if you live north of I-40, you got to be a little bit more weather aware. That's where the storms are stronger right now. We've got a little bit more instability, just a little bit of fuel that we tried to gain throughout the day. It wasn't much, but most of that is in northwest Arkansas. And we're also catching that south wind a little bit better. That's helping to refuel the atmosphere a little bit. Not much, but just enough. We're watching this line of storms. Now, it's very skinny. You see the width of it is not very large here on the radar. However, it's starting to get these kinks in it, and that's never good news. Sometimes with these kinks, you can get some rotations. Now, a little bit farther towards the north, I'll zoom out just for a second. For Ottawa County, the extreme northeast corner of Oklahoma, we now have a tornado warning. And mainly due to the same thing, we've got some rotation as it heads towards Missouri. But right now, we just have a lot of straight line winds that are coming into portions of Delaware and Adair counties. All right, so let's kind of do county by county. I'll go ahead and zoom in just a little bit. I've got some radar things here on the side as well. So we're watching the gusts of wind push across Delaware County, coming into Colcord, Jay, Sycamore, and Flint Creek. This is just barreling right through Highway 412. We just passed through Little Kansas. Still kind of windy, though, in Little Kansas and Chewy. But this is headed towards Siloam Springs. It'll be in Siloam Springs here within the next probably 10 minutes or so, this gust of wind. Now, right now, just kind of estimating, we have winds, it looks like right around 65 miles per hour that are moving eastbound. That's a strong wind. To get even severe limits, you got to hit at least 58. But this wind is moving directly east along Highway 412. It's going to hit us in Siloam Springs there towards the Cherokee Casino, and then just eastbound Highway 412 towards Taneytown, eventually making its way there, probably within another 25 to 30 minutes. But ahead of this storm, guys, we have some really gusty winds out there, just straight out of the south. We've had winds 50 to 60 miles per hour, almost severe winds, just no storm. We've had some rain push on through across parts of northwest Arkansas, but that wind has been barreling the past couple of hours. But the storm itself is still just off towards the west of the state line. Moving a little bit farther south, more for Adair County. We're coming into Chewy right now, and Christie, and West Peavine, and Fairfield, and Peavine itself, and Westville, and Watts, and Westville too. And you're going to be seeing this come across the state line close to Cincinnati area here within the next 5 or 10 minutes, and then we've got to watch in Prairie Grove and Farmington and Lincoln for some of this wind too. But you can see that gust right here. Now, right now it's bulging out, but so far it's fairly smooth, and we're not getting too much of a kink. The kink itself is large, but it's more when you get a bulge that's, you know, maybe 5 to 10 miles wide, and that shoots out. Then you start turning things, but right now it's pretty wide, so we'll see if this does have any chance to try to rotate. Off towards the south, though, we also have some gusty winds coming into Sequoia County. In fact, the strongest winds at this time are not in the severe thunderstorm warning. We've got some winds that are just barreling through Tamaha, coming into Brent and Sallisaw. Sallisaw, that wind is really about to gust. I know it's been windy already, but Sallisaw is about to get the wind in a big way here within the next 5 minutes. And then the wind starts to cut off a little bit more towards Keota and Bocoshi. Callington, we're about to get some of that wind there in northern LaFleur County, just coming right over the Arkansas River, headed towards the Kerr Reservoir Dam within the next 15 minutes or so. But Roland and Muldrow, watch out for some wind coming up. This wind's going to come and hit us in Fort Smith and Van Buren here within the half hour or so. So you can see the edge of that green. That shows you that gust of wind. Registering right now wind speeds around 50 miles per hour to 55, so a little bit weaker, even maybe up to about 58. So we're very close to severe criteria. Don't be surprised if we do get a severe thunderstorm warning for the rest of Sequoia County, but right now the warning is off towards the north. What's kind of taken place is that the warning has just been drawn to be very large, and so they went ahead and put it over Sequoia County, at least north of Interstate 40, but we still have some gusty winds there just south where that little red starts to poke a little bit farther south out of the warning. But basically, if you live along I-40 and north, watch out for this gusty wind that is moving in through this evening. Right now, it looks like it's just about 5 miles or so away from the state line. It looks like they're reissuing the warning, and they may go ahead and start to trim it as well. Back on this west side, wind starting to push through Watts, and wind coming towards Sallisaw too. This is a wider map. Oh, there we go. There was the new severe thunderstorm warning. That does include the rest of Sequoyah County, and it does include Fort Smith and Van Buren. It includes northern Sebastian County, and includes most of Crawford County, and then includes all of Benton and Washington counties too, mainly thanks to this line. It's long. It stretches all the way from the Missouri state line south all the way to the Arkansas River. So essentially now it's Arkansas River north, except you know how the river starts to curve north towards Fort Smith. But they're north of Fort Chaffee, north of Arcoma, and then north of Spiro, there towards the mounds, and then close to the river. That's where the warning starts to pick up. But there's that line that's coming in. Still kind of wavy. We'll watch that. It's not gusting as much from the storm's perspective. The storms have slowed down a little bit. Earlier, these storms were moving almost 80 miles per hour. That's just the storm itself, and then producing winds. You guys probably seen on social media that wind gust that was over 100 miles per hour in Texas. And then right around Oklahoma City, we had wind speeds near 100 miles per hour. It wasn't, you know, the storms were gusting out themselves, but sometimes the storm was just moving so fast that it produced that wind too. But once again, new severe thunderstorm warning. It does include all of northwest Arkansas. And the radar looks kind of funky too, because we had some rain that just actually pushed through parts of Fayetteville and Bentonville, Rogers, and Springdale. That wasn't the storm itself. The bigger storm's off towards the west. You might have even got a rumble of thunder, but that's not the main event. The main event's right here. It has weakened quite a bit since it was coming in from Oklahoma. One good piece of news is that we don't have any hail to track, so we're good on that front. It's mainly the wind that's coming on through. Sorry, we're going to a quick update. We could probably go ahead and do at least an update on TV. So what we're going to do is we're in a live stream right now on our digital platforms. Here in a moment, we're going to join our friends on TV, on 5 News, on Channel 5 itself. We'll probably do a quick update there, and then we'll go back to live. We may bounce back and forth between the two. But right now, we're watching this line. Trevor, just let me know, and I'll do a quick reset. Okay. All right, sounds good. Yeah, do what you have to do. I'll just keep talking for the storm itself right now. So the northern port of the storm is just about to cross into Siloam Springs right now. And then the southern part will be crossing into Washington County here within the next 10 or 15 minutes. We'll be a little bit delayed in Washington County, just how the line kind of kinks back a little bit towards the west. But you see all these storms race all the way north towards Kansas City. Looks like we got a severe thunderstorm warning just outside the city back towards the west. But we're focused on all these warnings that are coming through across northwest Arkansas. Say that again, Trevor. Okay. All right. Thank you for joining us. We're giving you an update right now. We have live streams going on our 5 News app, 5 Plus, and then also on our YouTube and Facebook channels as well. We wanted to give you a quick update on what we're seeing as storms are racing in from the west. We've got these storms moving by about 55 miles per hour, so they're a bit slower than they were earlier. They were around 80 miles per hour pushing across Oklahoma. So they've already slowed down a little bit, but they're still producing winds between 60 to 70 miles per hour. And they're heading into northwest Arkansas and heading into the heart of the River Valley too. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning that includes all the way from Bella Vista and goes into southwest Missouri too, into they're just north of Neosho, but then extends all the way through northwest. So Bentonville, Rogers, Springdale, Fayetteville, we're all including in this warning. All of Benton County, all of Washington County, all of Crawford County, and then now has been extended even farther south, closer to the Arkansas River. We're including in Fort Smith, there towards Vienna Hills, east of Barling, anywhere north of Fort Chaffee. That's where, in Chaffee Crossing, that's where we have the severe thunderstorm warning. It's this line that's back off towards the west that's producing these winds right now. And even we still have that tornado warning for Ottawa County. That's the only main circulation that we have, and that's going to push into Missouri. Right now, this line is just a lot of wind, and estimating some of these winds right now, coming into the state line, looks like we've got 68, 70, and they're radar estimated, so it could be a little bit different on the ground, but around 60 plus miles per hour, 65 or so, give or take a few miles per hour, coming towards Siloam Springs, coming towards Gentry. Siloam Springs, we're coming right on our doorstep. It's about to hit the Cherokee Casino at any moment, and then that wind's going to blast through Highway 412 all the way east to Tawnytown. Gentry have another 5-8 minutes or so, grab it, maybe another 8 to 10 minutes coming in from the west, and then we'll get a track here a little bit later for Bentonville, Rogers, Springdale, and Fayetteville. A little bit farther south, we've got some gusty winds, although it looks a little bit weaker once you head into portions of Adair County. Now, you go north of Westville, it's still pretty gusty. It looks like Westville winds are near 58, 62, 58, so a little bit weaker, and then even weaker once you head south of Westville. Stillwell, Cherry Tree, we got winds closer to the 40-mile-per-hour range. And then farther south, we got really gusty winds pushing through Sequoia County right now. Very impressive winds. Looks like some of these wind speeds are close to 68 miles per hour there towards Brent. Callington, we're just coming through with that wind. Winds just hit us in Salisaw. Brushy, we're next. And Brushy, you know, we're higher up too. That could really hit us just being in the higher elevations. Looks like that wind coming into Brushy is close to 50 to 60 miles per hour. Really watching this and don't like these little bulges that we're starting to get. We want that to be a little bit smoother like it was earlier, but we'll watch that. We've got wind coming into northwestern LaFleur County there towards Callington. Right now as we speak, estimating it right around 62, 66 coming into Callington. That's right along the Arkansas River headed towards the Kerr Reservoir Dam. Meteorologist Stephen Elmore, he's with me as well. Stephen, you want to give us an update on what you see?
Yeah, nothing so far in chat right now. We're keeping an eye on that just in case we do anticipate another warning moving our way, whether it's a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning. Taking a look at the map we got right here. Again, over the past hour, we've seen where those two lines of thunderstorms kind of split apart, and now they're merging back together, resulting in some of these gusty winds. That's why they're issuing these severe thunderstorm warnings across most of northwest Arkansas and into the river valley. You can see that this line, mainly across northwest Arkansas, is what we're going to be watching over the next couple of hours. We're going to zoom in here real quick. And just to show you how that line, that bow right behind it, that's those wind gusts really starting to push through. That's when we can start to see those wind gusts closing in on 70-plus mile per hour. And that's when we start to get into the damaging zone, when we start to get above that 60-mile-an-hour mark. Now, Matt mentioned it. We have not a whole lot of hail cores in this right now. So really our main and only threat right now is going to be those damaging wind gusts. As we move across the river valley, we don't have any warnings right now. We're following chat on our Facebook Live to see if you guys have any questions. We've had a lot of questions about places like Poto, where we're seeing this line starting to weaken just a bit. Really, those wind gusts have started to die down. Also, LaFleur County is left out of that tornado watch. They're probably not going to issue one throughout the rest of the night, but we'll keep an eye on it. You still have that wind advisory, though, that goes until 6 a.m. heading into tomorrow morning. That wind gust advisory, or that wind advisory, is going to be in place due to those wind gusts being 50-plus mile-per-hour winds, all coming up from the south. That's why we're staying warm overnight tonight, but maybe we have some spots of some damage across southern portions of the river valley, but it just doesn't look like that line's going to come together right now. As we continue to track this line through the river valley, we may be seeing that line starting to form back together. Our main threat right now is definitely this line that's moving out of Adair County and into Benton and Washington County right now. It's right over the state line across Oklahoma and Arkansas right now, just crossing into Benton County. So Siloam, right now, you're probably seeing, you're right where that curve is, right over Siloam, Matt. Siloam's probably seeing the heaviest winds right now across northwest Arkansas. It's right at that bow. That's right where those wind gusts are going to be at their peak. We could be seeing those wind gusts peaking up near 70 miles per hour. So if you're in Siloam, definitely start to find your safe spot. This severe thunderstorm warning goes all the way out until, let's see here, around 1 a.m., I believe, is when it starts to end. 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts are involved in this. This is going to go out. They'll probably extend this a little bit, I would imagine. We'll wait to see what the National Weather Service is going to say. But this is just the beginning. We've been talking about this, tracking this all the way out from the Panhandle across central Oklahoma, where they had a lot of damage. Now, finally, just getting into the state line at 12:30. If you're joining us early this morning now, we've still got to track this all the way through Arkansas. We're going to go ahead and toss it back over to Matt for some further updates.
Yeah. Looks like you said, Silent Spring's getting the brunt of it. It looks like it's just passed over John Brown University, and they're now pushing across downtown. It's going to be moving past the Lowe's and the Walmart here very shortly and just plow right down Highway 412 with those 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. Farther towards the north, the high school winds coming in for us too. and then even north to Gentry. You go north on Highway 59 there towards even the Eagle Watch Nature Trail. That's where we're having the winds right now pushing east. The storm itself moving about 55 miles per hour. So Stephen, I'll have you help me out here. Let's zoom in and do a quick county by county look, any county that's included in the warning. So we can start with Benton County. If we zoom in a little bit more, and we'll do that tracker, I think it's set to 55 still.
Okay.
What we could do is zoom in, just have the county wide, and do a quick scan and
just
quick
northwest.
track. Yep.
And,
we'll do just Benton County, and then we'll go county by county.
Okay, just Benton County. Just a
Yep.
quick update. They canceled that tornado warning in Ottawa.
Good information there. That was just south and east of Miami, headed towards Joplin. Once again, as Stephen just said, that one has been canceled. Right now, it's got a lot of wind to track. So, yeah, let's just do a track just for Benton County, and then we'll do a new one per county. There's that line. He's drawing it right along the edge, going through Siloam Springs right now and Gentry. Newest updates, Gentry basically right now, they're towards Heifel, right around the airport. If you live around the airport, here by 12:47, so here in about 10 minutes. Closer to 15, 16 minutes or so for Bentonville. And then maybe 1 o'clock coming towards Fayetteville. The line kind of bends back towards the west a little bit. So that's why the Fayetteville time is a little bit delayed. They're right around 1 o'clock. And then 1:10 for Goshen. So we just passed Springdale. Springdale would be about the same as Fayetteville. We're probably right around the 1 o'clock hour. Time right now, 12:37. So here in about 20 minutes, give or take, we'll get that wind coming into Springdale. And then Rogers, we're somewhere in between, probably 12:55 or so, kind of right in between Bentonville and Springdale's times. Farmington, they're just before 1 o'clock, and then crossing over I-49 right around 1 o'clock this morning. So once again, just about 20 minutes or so. All right, so let's go a little bit farther south. Let's just do kind of a wide of Washington County. This is that line that is severely warned right now.
And you can see, Matt, this is a last hour loop where we went last off from our live stream. Those two lines are separated. The reason why we're starting to get some more of this, these strong wind gusts is because those two have now merged back together, now just getting over into the state line.
That's right. And so that's why it looked kind of like it peaked the wind too. Now, the latest scan, that last scan, tries to start breaking up that one just a little bit. Notice how that northern end started to break off a little bit. This one just keeps evolving, definitely keeps evolving. But there's that wind right along the leading edge of the red is where you get those gusty winds. That's exactly where Stephen is making that line. So we make that out. Let's see what we got. All right, so Berryville, it's going to be closer to 1:30 or so. Eureka Springs, Berryville, right around 1:30 or so. You see the timing for Fayetteville still right around 1 o'clock. And then Elkins, once you go farther south and east, you start to get a little hilly. Elkins right around 1:10. Green Forest, 1:33. Let's go a little bit farther south. Let's do Sequoia County going into Crawford County. So we'll go a little bit farther. Let's just do kind of this portion right here. Let's watch that.
That line's coming together.
It is. And that one's coming more together now on that south side. You can see how it's kind of like this rope. So let's time out Sequoia going into Crawford and Fort Smith as well in northern Sebastian. There we go. That's great. Okay. All right, so time right now, 12:39. So here in about 8 minutes, coming into Poto, although the line is a little bit weaker towards the south, it's still coming in. There's going to be a lot of heavy rain. And it looks like the Poto winds right now, I'm looking up, about 52 to 53, so still a good gust of wind, but just below the severe status. Severe status, technically is 58, but just below severe status coming into Poto, Shady Point, and Panama. Cameron would be included in that as well. Probably Cameron closer to 1250. All right, Fort Smith, Van Buren, 1254 here within the next 15 minutes. Right now, it just blasted through Salisaw. It looks like it's closer to right over Gaines, Atkins, and it would be moving in Muldrow here within the next 2 or 3 minutes. Roland here within the next 5 or 6 minutes, and then closer to Fort Smith, 10 to 15. Same for Van Buren, 10 to 15, that wind coming in for us too. Greenwood, 106, and then Waldron farther south. The farther south you go, though, remember, we don't have warnings at this time. Now, could that change? Sure, but right now the southern end has been a little bit weaker, and that's probably going to continue to be the case. But we still could get 40 to 50 to 50, even 5 miles per hour. So from Greenwood south into Waldron. Waldron time is 125. And then Clarksville, you know, the farther east you go, the threat also goes down because these storms continue to try to weaken generally. They do these little pulses and they get a little stronger and then they weaken again. Clarksville will have a lower threat, but we'll probably get some more of that wind. It's already been kind of windy though. We'll get more of that wind right around 146. Do you have any updates, Stephen?
Just that Sallisaw, they're starting to issue some of those peak wind gusts that we're starting to see. Sallisaw just 1 mile per hour shy of the severe limit at 57 miles per hour. Again, we start to get those severe thunderstorm warnings at 58 plus miles per hour. Usually we just round that up to 60. We're still answering questions on our Facebook Live. If you guys have any of those questions there, you can put those into our Facebook chat. But right now, we've been talking all night how mainly since this storm has left the panhandle of Texas, we've seen it pulse up and down across central Oklahoma, pulse down as we got in between Tulsa and east in kind of the state line right now. And finally, now we're starting to see it pulse back up. These lines are coming together and we're starting to get back up towards the severe limit because these wind gusts are being able to get behind this line and start to cause some of that damaging wind gusts. So that severe thunderstorm warning that we have right now across northwest Arkansas and portions of Crawford County is for 70 mile per hour wind gusts. We just got an update. We have a tornado warning. Matt, well, I'll let you take this over. This tornado warning is including Fort Smith. So,
all right. Tornado warning for Crawford, Sebastian, and Sequoia counties. This line is moving about 55 miles per hour to the east, and it's just past Brushy, headed towards the Muldrow area. So let's go ahead. Let's bring this up. Okay, I'm going to zoom in just a touch. I'm going to take control for just a second.
Radar indicated. So once we transition from that radar indicated to that radar confirmed, that's when we're starting to pick up some of that debris ball that could result in maybe possibly resulting in a tornado on the ground. That's not the case right now. We just have this radar indicated rotation. If you are in the polygon right there, Matt zooming in for you right now. If you see your city right there, we got Van Buren, Fort Smith, Alma. It's time to find your safe spot. We've been tracking these storms as they move across the state line. Now they're starting to pulse back up, and if you're in that red polygon on the screen right now, it's time to find your safe spot. This is our first tornado warning that we've had for this evening moving into Arkansas. Matt right now is what he's doing is he's trying to get the velocity up there so we can see those wind gusts, maybe trying to find where that kink is in the line and get an exact location of where that tornado warning is. This tornado warning is going to go all the way out. Let's see, it's moving 55 miles per hour towards the east, and it's going to go until 1:15. So we are at 12:42 currently right now. You still got a little while for this tornado warning. Good news is, Matt, we've already seen one canceled, but let's go ahead and see where this kink is right now. Where do you think that is?
Yeah, we got this kink just north of Highway 64. This is, let me go ahead and zoom in just a little bit closer. I got the radar also on an iPad to kind of help out here.
Okay.
All right, so let me get this over. So this is coming right over the Muldrow area. It looks like the rotation's crossing over 64. So once you're north of the railroad tracks there in Muldrow, just past Vian Street, that's where we have the rotation right now. North side of Muldrow, just on Main Street headed north. You go past the ball fields there on the north side of Muldrow, and you head on 64 as if you're headed towards the Stone Creek area and headed towards, let's see, there's that Dollar General that's just a little bit farther north out of town. This is the main rotation. However, we've got some general small rotations off towards the north as well. That's why you kind of have the larger polygon coming in from the National Weather Service. But the main threat is on the north side of Muldrow right now. And once again, this thing is moving about 55 miles per hour. So just to time this out, this is headed towards the Fort Smith and Van Buren area. If you live in Fort Smith or Van Buren or Arcoma, Roland, Harrelton, and Alma, you need to go ahead and, like Stephen said, get in that safe place. You want to get away from windows. You want to try to get in the most interior part of your house as this rotation comes in. New scan coming in. Let's take a closer look at it. You can see it's a little bit more pronounced there.
Sirens are going off in Van Buren.
All right, there's that kink. So it looks like we just passed Muldrow. Now we're headed towards Roland right now. This thing is moving quickly, so you're going to quickly hear updates as we watch this. This is one of our faster storms that we get that has tornado warning with it. So this is moving just north of that Cherokee Casino. Cherokee Casino is about right here. You go north towards Remy is where we generally have the rotation. So more on the northwest side of Roland, you get on Highland Drive and you head north. You also hit another Dollar General there as you get to the corner of Huntingburn Lane and then Highland Drive, which is about here. So right around the Remy area, that's where we have that rotation. This is moving east. If you live in Muldrow, Blackjack, Maple, you have the warning, but you are getting in the clear spot now. It's mainly towards the east is where we have that threat. Muldrow, Blackjack, Maple, Salisaw, you guys are good. This rotation, though, is going to be going right over Swan Drive here shortly. If you guys know, generally, best guess, on the north side of Roland, you start to get into some rural territory, right around that Dollar General on the corner of Hummingbird Lane and Highland Drive. That's where you're going to watch that rotation. The Remy area also included in that, too. Let's see. And once you get to Remy, you start to get into some hilly territory there for a second. Remy Hollow, that lake that's on the west side of town, that's where we have that rotation too. New scan coming in, a little bit messier, but we still have that rotation. That rotation is going to continue to move eastbound. Dora, Roland, we're watching that very closely. But there, especially towards Dora, is where we'll watch that rotation. I'll zoom out a little bit more. You do see the warning extending all the way north to Cedarville and Mountainburg because we have some smaller rotation. Just generally, when you have a bulge coming out, you get the little nooks here where you just got to watch it, which we're watching, and that's going to be headed towards Van Buren and Fort Smith, especially probably the north side of Fort Smith. But we're still far out. You know, these things can move. A lot of times they've been moving east or just north of due east, and that's just kind of been looking at the previous rotations that we've had throughout the evening. But north side north side Fort Smith into Van Buren is where we're going to watch that rotation. The rotation off towards the north, generally you look at a bulge and you go on the north side, sort of towards Bellefonte. It's a little bit not as defined right now, but headed east towards Cedarville. Steven, you want to take over for a second? I'm going to look at correlation stuff here for a moment.
So outside of the tornado warning right now, obviously that is our main concern. People from across northwest Arkansas, they have extended that severe thunderstorm warning. We still got 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts, but that notch right there is where we're tracking just north of Muldrow, heading just looks like it's going to track just north of Fort Smith, but this is still underneath a tornado warning. If you're in Crawford, Sebastian counties, it's time to find that safe spot. We're still tracking our Facebook Live to see what your questions are. A lot of reports of those sirens going off in Van Buren, Fort Smith. Let's see where else those sirens are going off. Long story short is if your sirens are going off and you can hear them right now, it's time to find your safe spot. Again, that tornado warning is going out until 1:15. Again, that includes Van Buren, Fort Smith, Alma, moving out of Sequoyah County into Crawford and Sebastian counties right now. Late this evening, this is when we start to see, the visibility obviously low right now. We're seeing dark skies outside. It's hard to see those things unless we see flashes of lightning, and we don't have a ton of lightning right now. So that's when you could get really snuck up on by those tornadoes. So it's just safe to be, if you're in that tornado warning, it's time to find those safe spots. We're going to see this line of thunderstorms continue to develop. And since it's such a thin line of those thunderstorms, that's when we can start to get those kinks. Matt's working with those cameras right now to try to get a visual on this right now. We're still going to be trying to look through all of our cameras to see if we can see anything. Latest look on chat. I'm going to take that away, Matt, real quick, just to make sure. Still just radar indicated rotation. So the difference between that is when we have that radar indicated rotation, that just means we can see the rotation on radar. Like Matt's showing you right now, we see that kink. Once we see that radar confirmed, that's when we start to see that debris ball, and we can start to assume that maybe something is trying to reach the ground. Matt, you got something right there?
Yeah, this is just a live look in Bacola, and like you said, there's not a lot of lightning with this storm, so it's very difficult to see. I was trying to turn up the exposure to try to get a little bit better light, but it's just hard to watch. But you're looking north from Bacola. That's where the rotation generally would be, right around Roland, and then north of Roland towards Remy. Arcoma, Van Buren, we're kind of more in the firing zone as this kink in the radar, the rotation that we've been watching. Nothing confirmed on the ground. We don't see any debris at this time. Just look at the latest scan. But it's headed especially into southern Crawford County, really right along the river or north. Now, Fort Smith, we're still in the tornado warning. Right now, we're trending a little bit farther north. That could change. We'll give you those updates, but as of right now, more towards Van Buren. And then Cedarville, Uniontown, you got to be on the lookout too. Even if you're not getting the specific notch that we're talking about, we still have some wind speeds that are 60 to 65 miles per hour. But this is a live look in Bacola. That rotation is directly off towards the north. It's just going to be hard to tell. And if you look closely, you can kind of see the camera just move every once in a while, shaking in that wind as the storm's coming through. All right, so I'm going to go back to radar. Let's see. I think I had it. All right, here we go. There's the tornado warning. Still those 2 notches. 25, just, you might have just heard. Steven said 25 minutes left of the warning. A new scan just came in too. All right, so the notch that we've been watching is just north of Dora. You're just, I mean, it's super hilly right in there. You even got Lee Creek kind of flowing right across the state line. This is a very low populated area just north of Dora. So that's some good news. It's north of Blue Mouse Road. Blue Mouse Road goes about to here. So north of Blue Mouse Road, right there in the hills along Lee Creek, coming in from Arkansas into Oklahoma. That's where we have that rotation right now. That'll be heading towards, let's see, Wood Cemetery, the Weber Creek Fire Station there, a little bit north of Lee Creek, even the Lee Creek Reservoir. If you live near the Lee Creek Reservoir, that's where this rotation's going. We've seen some general rotation towards the north there, northeast of Bellefonte. That's closer to Short, Arkansas, kind of near 101 as it goes towards Uniontown. Lee Creek also kind of bends farther towards the north too. But you're in extreme eastern Sequoyah County, very rural, right along the state line. If you live along or near Lee Creek and all the way down to the Lee Creek Reservoir, you need to be making sure you're trying to take your safe place. Make sure you get away from windows, most interior part of your house. New issue of the tornado warning now cuts off Fort Smith. Coming in from the National Weather Service. This one goes until, you see the time? 1:15. Okay, so they're just trimming. So Roland, Muldrow, Bellefonte, Gaines, Atkins, no longer are you in the tornado warning. Still, it's technically been issued, but that's going to be expired here shortly. If you live right along the state line from Dora northbound, right along the Lee Creek, from the reservoir all the way north, how the river bends, almost all the way into Adair County, that's where we have that tornado warning. See, it's just been expired back off towards the west. So Cedarville, Uniontown, Van Buren, we're included in this warning right now. Fort Smith, you are in the clear of this tornado warning. Once again, Fort Smith and Sebastian County, no longer are we in the tornado warning. You go north of the river. As soon as you pass the Midland Bridge and you head into Van Buren, that's where the warning picks up. It looks like it's going to be on the north side of Van Buren, headed right over the Lee Creek Reservoir. You guys know where you are, right around the reservoir itself. That's where we have the tornado warning, and especially with that rotation. If you live generally north of you go on the north side of Van Buren, there towards the Lowe's and Walmart. If you live north of the Lowe's and Walmart, you go past Tractor Supply. That's right, kind of about an hour, or not an hour, a minute or 2, 3, 4 minutes north of the Lowe's and Walmart. That's where the rotation is going to be the most pronounced. We don't have anything touching the ground as far as we can see right now. Been checking radar as well. Looks like there's nothing necessarily indicated.
Indicated rotation is why they have
update.
that tornado warning.
Do you see the update by National Weather Service? Mm-hmm. Looks like the rotation has weakened a bit, but they're still keeping the tornado warning for now, just to watch, because with these lines that come in, they're so gusty that if one part of the line is shooting faster than another portion, you kind of turn the wind for at least a few minutes. And so that's why you got the tornado warning. But latest update is that it has weakened, although there's still a lot of wind with this line. The rotation itself is right where you see that kink. And now it looks like it's pretty much completely crossed the state line. So if you live in Oklahoma, our tornado threat has now gone down. It's mainly east of the state line. So Cedarville and Uniontown, especially from Lee Creek Reservoir towards the north and east. I'd say if you live anywhere from Cedarville south past the Crawford County Speedway and south all the way to the Lowe's and Walmart on the north side of Van Buren and Tractor Supply in that area, you live in between, this is where you really want to make sure you're in that safe spot. That's where we have the main threat for this tornado warning as it marches east. So north side of Van Buren, especially north of I-40, is where we're watching the biggest rotation. I'm going to move farther south for just a second, Stephen, just to see some of that wind, because we're going to get some big-time wind coming through.
That's the latest
Fort Smith area.
update from National Weather Service, is that we're starting to see some of maybe no longer those kinks in those straight line winds, but those wind gusts approaching Fort Smith specifically, just at the surface around 60 mile an hour. That's over our severe limit. So just because we no longer have that tornado warning in Fort Smith, if you live in Fort Smith, you're still going to see those strong wind gusts just knocking on the door.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up that camera again. Pensacola, it looks like the wind's just about to hit us in Pensacola. You can see that it's shaking a little bit. It might be hard to tell. Let's see. Let me move that camera around, Stephen, just a touch. It's hard to tell, especially because there's not a lot of lightning with this storm. But that's some heavy rain that you can see off towards the north, too. We're probably about to get some of that rain in Pensacola. All right, I'm going to switch it back to the...
Well, Matt's changing those cameras. The reason why we're talking about that lightning is while usually during these severe weather events, when we're talking about lightning, it's not great for us. But the fact that we don't have any lightning right now, it's actually working against us because we cannot see where we could see maybe a notch coming out of the sky, maybe where we could start to see some of that rotation. Right now, it's just dark outside, so that's when we're at the worst position possible to see through our cameras because there's no flashes of light out there. Matt's right now kind of working you through what he's doing. We're going back up across northwest Arkansas, showing you those straight line winds just outside of Bentonville and moving into Mercy, and just past X&A, where we're seeing some really damaging wind gusts approaching into Benton County right now. We're talking about those wind gusts being around 70 plus mile per hour wind gusts. This has really started to pulse back up now. Matt, what do you have for us?
Yeah, the wind is blasting through the Centerton area. So Bentonville West High School, the wind's really picked up for us. We had a wind gust report of just over 50 miles per hour in X&A. So expect near 50 to 60, even close to 65 in some spots. The line isn't completely uniform. You get these spots where it can really kick up. So expect near, kind of average it all out, about 60 mile per hour winds blasting through northwest Arkansas right now. Just blasted through Bentonville West. It's over by the Kohler Mountain Bike Reserve, you know, the one with the coffee shop that's deep in the woods. The wind is blasting through us north all the way into Bella Vista, going right along 71 there towards the Cooper Elementary School, and you got the hospital on the north side. We're getting the wind for us. Farther south into Bentonville right now, checking some of these winds, close to 60-something miles per hour. Pushing right near Crystal Bridges here within the next couple minutes or so. Let's see, the Walmart corporate office, you know, home office, we're just about to get hit with some of that wind. It's been windy already all evening long, and no, it's just been straight out of the south. But that wind gust on top of that, changing directions too. We've had a south wind. All of a sudden, if you've been watching the flags today, we've been getting that nice south wind, especially from the afternoon and evening hours. And tonight, you're going to notice a directly west wind. All of a sudden, a big change as the storm just blasts on through. We got a new severe thunderstorm warning coming out as they update. They trim off towards the west, but wind coming through there towards Osage Park. The Bentonville Municipal Airport, if you live near the airport, the wind's about to blast through for that. And then the DMV is just off towards the south. And you wrap south towards, let's see, the Southeast Walton Boulevard, you know, as you're headed towards the interstate with that new intersection, or Walton, as you change from Walton to Walnut, right at that exit. exit 85. We're going to be watching that wind come in the next moment. And then even farther south as you wrap towards the Mercy Hospital, the big one that's right across from Embassy Suites, and then you head south to the Promenade and Pinnacle Hills, that wind just blasting through us. A little bit farther south, though, we get to wait just a touch more just because of the orientation. We're a little bit slanted coming in front to Washington County. Farmington and Lincoln Lake, the winds just blasted through us. The orange color shows you a south wind that we've had generally throughout the day. And I tell you what, it's been gusting in Fayetteville like crazy in Springdale and Johnson as well for the past several hours. And it continues to do so. The red color shows you the wind that's coming in from the west, near 60 miles per hour. So Prairie Grove, here within the next 5 minutes, we're going to be picking it up too, closer to 10 minutes in Farmington, 10 to 15 in Fayetteville, coming straight from the west. Greenland, about 15 minutes away, and West Fork, 15 to 20 minutes away from when this wind will really pick up from the west. Also taking a look at the wind farther south. Yeah.
We just hit 1 a.m., so our tornado watch for all of our Oklahoma friends has officially expired. They have not reissued that tornado watch into Arkansas just yet.
That's good news. So most of the storms, I'll switch to the radar for a second. I know it kind of gets busy. It's this line that's giving us trouble this evening. Looks like the wind and the rain just coming through Poto right now. Cameron, Shady Point, Spiro, Pecola, we're next. We're right about here. The wind's about to pick up. Rain crossing into Fort Smith down Garrison Avenue right as we speak. Ginland Road, we're about to get it next, and you go down Rogers Avenue here within the next couple of minutes. This is going to be coming right through with some of that heavy rain. The tornado warning still includes Crawford County, but just check in with radar. There's not as much of a kink as there was earlier, so they're probably just going to let it stay until the storm passes on through, because this storm has had a history of producing a quick notch and then dissipating again, but then it could also refire. But right now, it's a much safer spot. It just has a lot of wind. It doesn't even matter if you're in that rotation spot that we had earlier. The winds are 60 to 70 miles per hour all along this line as it blasts through Crawford County. Looks like it's right over or kind of just past the Crawford County Speedway, at least the heaviest or the strongest of the winds. And I tell you what, even afterwards, we've been talking about this earlier today, once the storms push through your neighborhood, you're not done with the wind yet. We've got a west wind. In fact, we've got westerly winds all across Oklahoma, 40 to 50 miles per hour. In Texas, they're 60 miles per hour. It's just going to be a very breezy night for us as it comes in from the west, a very drying wind for us. But right now, it looks like the storm's coming through. And
there you go,
Benton
Matt.
County.
That tornado warning, real quick.
There you go.
Canceled.
Good news.
It did not make it till that 1:15 mark. This tornado warning for Crawford and Sebastian County has been canceled. That rotation has not been indicated anymore, so that's the reason why they're going ahead and canceling that warning.
That's great news. There's the storm. This is what Stephen's talking about with that cancellation coming in from the National Weather Service. We still have that severe thunderstorm warning because we still have the wind 60 to 70 miles per hour. That can still take down some tree limbs. And sometimes in the particular stronger gusts, closer to 70, you can even start to mess with some of the shingles on your roof. So watch for that. Winds just passed through Cedarville, at least the strongest winds. The storm is now approaching I-49. They're close to Rudy, and they're right along Old 88, the Morrison Cemetery, and the chapel, the Kenner Chapel there, north of Rudy. We're going to be watching that 282 as you go south of Rudy back towards Van Buren. And you cross that lake as you get close to 71. That's where we're watching that wind blast through right now, coming into Alma and Dean Springs and Mountainburg within the next 5 to 10 minutes. Kibler, 5 to 10 minutes for us too. You see the rain over Fort Smith. We're getting that rain pretty good right now. I think I've got one of the cameras. Is this the? There we go. Stephen, what are you seeing out there?
Let's get a look. We were just answering some questions on Facebook. Again, it's important to remind people, we got a lot of people flooding in when we got that tornado warning initially. There is actively no tornado warning for Crawford and Sebastian County anymore. National Weather Service went ahead and canceled that early, 15 minutes early. So that rotation didn't last as long as they were expected. We still have a severe thunderstorm warning that stretches all the way from the border of Missouri and Arkansas north, close to Bella Vista, all the way up across northern northern Benton County. That stretches down all the way south of Fort Smith, working into Sebastian County. So that line that we're seeing right now, Fort Smith, you're seeing that line just moving in. Looks like it's weakening just a bit, but we're still seeing those strong wind gusts is going to be our main concern. And with those strong wind gusts, like we were talking about with these storms moving out of Oklahoma, we could start seeing just a quick spin up. And that's with the case that we had with that tornado warning that we had in Sebastian and Crawford County, where we had such strong wind gusts that just enough to get a little rotation in the atmosphere. And that's when we sparked those tornado warnings. Latest update right now, though, let's see. Okay, let's go ahead and check out another spot. We got some circulation is developing in the line across northern Benton County, enhanced wind gusts across near Pea Ridge. So we're going to move now out of Crawford and Sebastian County up into northern Benton County for Pea Ridge High School. All those schools are right there. All those new homes are right there in Pea Ridge. Just moving in. It's a windy road to get up there after you get off 49 off of exit 88 there. That's where our next spot of rotation is working up there. So Pea Ridge, we don't have a warning just yet, but National Weather Service is alerting us that we could have a spot of some rotation starting to develop. That red spot that Matt's pointing out right there, that's that notch. That's what we could start to see with these heavy, strong wind gusts in this thin band is when we could start to see some rotation. Explaining to you what Matt's working out right now is the timing of this system. With that notch right there, it is 106, 107 right now. Is that timing 106?
Yeah, so basically right now.
Pea Ridge. If you're in Pea Ridge, while there is no warning yet, and they might not issue a warning, it's not a bad idea to go ahead and find that safe spot if you live in Pea Ridge or the surrounding areas. Matt?
Yeah, so you see basically kind of getting close to 62. If you live north of 62, you've got a better chance with the circulation, just something that we're going to watch. No tornado warning, but you guys know how these things happen. You get these gusty winds pushing on through, and whenever you start to get that notch is when you start to mechanically turn the winds, and you could possibly get a tornadic circulation. But right now we're seeing that notch form a little bit. We'll get the next scan. Sometimes you get it for one scan, and then it's back to being away again. So we'll watch, but Pea Ridge, right now that's what we're watching. Even if, it doesn't become tornadic, guys, this is some strong wind. It's been windy all evening long. It's howling out there, out of the south. But now once the green comes in, I know the color's a little bit different now. You're thinking, why is he using all these different colors? The green shows you westerly winds. They're howling from the west near 60 miles per hour. The blue colors show you winds that are coming out of the south. So we already have those, the greens coming in. And so this is gonna be tracking towards 62. You can see Elkhorn Tavern, 112, and Gateway right before you get to the state line, 117 within the next 10 minutes. This thing is moving quickly, about 55 miles per hour. So we'll continue to watch that. Stephen, keep your eye on that as it's moving over Pea Ridge. A lot of development going on that side of town. It looks like the wind, once again, the green's coming in from the west. That's the leading edge of the storm. This is the best way to look at the wind because wind is our main threat. We don't have any hail. We've got some rain. We don't have too much lightning. You may hear some rumbles of thunder out there though, but it's really the wind threat that we're watching. So I'm gonna keep it in the wind mode for now. There's some rain, watch for the rain, but it's really the wind that we're watching. It looks like we just got a new scan. I'm gonna take that flashy thing off because it's not gonna track. All right. Looking at that new scan for Pea Ridge. It's even more on the north side. It's about, it's kind of translated north. So about right there.
Matt?
Yeah, about right here. This should probably stay along and north of 62. But this thing will be in Missouri very quickly. So it was right over the National Military Park, and then Elkhorn Tavern, Bayless School, and then Sugman as you get there once you cross into Missouri. But this is extreme northern Benton County, starting to push out of Pea Ridge. So the military park's on the east side, and then moving in. What do you got, Stephen?
You talked about X&A earlier, how we're kind of watching that line start to fall apart just a bit where that tornado warning was across Sebastian and Crawford County. Now the strongest line is moving into northern Benton County. X&A still reporting those wind gusts right below the severe limit, but we're still seeing those wind gusts anywhere from 60 plus mile per hour. Now we're starting to see from the National Weather Service that we got some power flashes in Van Buren. So you're starting to see some of those strong wind gusts as well, causing some of those power outages. I'll try to pull up a map of power outages across the state of Arkansas and get you an update on that, Matt.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it south. Real quick, before we completely pull south, let's give you an update where that gust wind threat is. It's now completely, at least the leading edge has blown through Bentonville. You're still going to get some west winds for now. Coming into downtown Rogers, then headed on the north side of Rogers, you hit the Harps, and you go eastbound, you head towards Prairie Creek Marina. That's where we have it. You got the Daisy, the factory for the BB guns. That's where we're watching the wind come through. You head north towards the come and go that's right there at the intersection. You go on 62, then finally towards the north. That's where we have the wind right now, just blasting through Rogers. Bentonville, we've got it too. Then on the south side of Rogers, you get towards the Pleasant Grove Road exit. You head eastbound. You've got the Fellowship Church there. You go northbound into the south side. You got the Big Abby's Bakery. That area of Rogers, that's where the wind's blowing through. Now, farther towards the south, you're going to see the colors possibly switch here in a second. Severe thunderstorm warning. You see it being kind of reissued there. Trimmed. So Bentonville, let's see. Bentonville West is no longer included. It still technically includes Bentonville High School. But Bella Vista, you're out of the warning. Centerton, they're towards Bentonville West High School. You're out of the warning. Exnay's out of the warning. Still most of Washington County is in the warning. So for Washington County, I know the map, the color kind of changes because we're going off different radars now. We're going off the Fort Smith radar now. The red shows you the wind that's coming in from the west, and then the orange color shows you the wind coming in from the south. We've got wind blowing right through Springdale, just hit us at the Sunset Avenue exit. J.B. Hunt headquarters, Johnson, the wind's just about to pick up in the next minute. And then Weddington, south to Stephen Carr, the boulevard right there, the exit of I-49. You go in Weddington, west past the Animal Hospital. That's where the wind's coming through for us too. We already have it over Lake Weddington. And then on 62, Prairie Grove, wind blasting through for us. And then wind also coming into Farmington within the next minute or so. Fayetteville, Greenland, and West Fork here within the next 5 minutes or so is when that wind's going to hit us along the interstate. It might be a little bit longer to the east side there towards Mission. And then Goshen and Sonora, maybe within the next couple of minutes, maybe just after 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes or so for us, Goshen, Elkins, and then Sonora too. Do we want to take a quick look at the Van Buren storm with that wind?
Yeah, let's go ahead. I've been looking at it on radar over here.
Yeah.
It looks like that line of that strong line of thunderstorms moving. All right, you got control. That line.
You got it now.
Okay. Let's see here. Sorry for all the moving around. I got control now. Let's get a wide view. This is what I'm looking over at our other monitor that we have right here. Got a lot of questions on our Facebook live stream asking about what's the update across Fort Smith, because not too long ago you had that tornado warning canceled. Now it still would have been active right now, but National Weather Service canceled it at around 1:01. We have no more rotation across Sebastian and Crawford County. If you live in, I'm going to stop this loop right now, just give you an active look. Latest update was 10:10, 10:14 now, moving into Fort Chaffee area. Alma, you just saw that line blow through. I think the greatest area, the greatest threat for those strong wind gusts is now right into Mountainburg. If you're living in Mountainburg, you're going to start to see those strong wind gusts starting to push through. What we're looking for is anytime we start to see that hook and that arch kind of, you see it shaped like a bow, right at the peak of that bow is where the strongest wind gusts are going to be. So I think the Mountainburg and surrounding areas are going to see the strongest wind gusts. Once you start working north of Mountainburg into Winslow, you're seeing some strong wind gusts, and you still have that severe thunderstorm warning. I just don't think that's the strongest place right now. Winslow, though, still going to hear some really strong wind gusts outside. As we work further up north across 49, Prairie Grove, you're starting to see some of those heavy thunderstorms right now. We don't have that bow in that line across Prairie Grove, so maybe a little little less of those wind gusts, but still strong enough to issue that severe thunderstorm warning. And then, of course, our greatest threat right now is going to be across northern portions of Benton County, where we just had a report from from National Weather Service not too long ago of them just watching some potential rotation. Now, that was at 1:04, so we're about 11 minutes past that. Haven't got an update since that, so that's well past Pea Ridge now. Looks like that rotation might have died down just enough. But one last look across the river valley as we toss it back over to Matt. Again, south of Fort Chaffee, you don't even have that severe thunderstorm warning. You're seeing just a thin line of some thunderstorms, maybe starting to hear some rumbles, and you're going to see some heavy wind gusts. But Poto, Kavanaugh Hill, you're just seeing some rain right now. The heaviest portion of those thunderstorms is already east of you. So if you're in Oklahoma, most of those storms are past you now. Now we're going to be tracking the bottom half of this line of thunderstorms. See if it starts to come together as we get closer to Greenwood and Mansfield, maybe even tracking all the way to Charleston and Booneville if we make it that long. Again, these lines are pulsing up and down. We're still in a case right now where we're on a pulse up across northwest Arkansas. We'll see if the river valley line starts to pulse back up again. Of course, right now, again, our severe thunderstorm warning just cross north of Charleston all the way up to the state line.
Yeah, it looks like you've been talking about, you got it centered perfectly. The strongest winds in the river valley are coming through Mountainburg, and then south on 71 as you get towards Belmont. You got to get Graphic Road, and then you head south into Belmont. And then as you head to Dean Springs, we've got that wind too. You see the red on the radar, how it's kind of had this backwards C shape that has the gustiest wind threat right now in the river valley. You get south of the Arkansas River, we've got southerly winds, and eventually they're going to come out of the west, but the bigger damaging wind threat is farther north. Crawford County about to come into Franklin County, mainly north of the river. This will be from Ozark north, there towards Watalula, and north of Mulberry. You can go north of the Silver Bridge and the Mulberry, the outdoor rivers area where you can get on a kayak and things like that. And north of that, you go right along the fringes of the Boston Mountains is where we'll be watching. Eventually, White Rock Mountain, we'll be watching some wind. It's going to be even gustier up there in the mountains. I'll tell you what, if you've got friends or family on the tops of those mountains, the wind is much stronger higher up in the atmosphere right now. It is gusting like crazy up there. So watching the mountains for that. But right now we've got wind that's just blasted through Mountainburg. Lake Fort Smith's about here. We just had the wind pass on through, getting some water at the dam. Lock, and then Lock Cemetery, about right here. You'll be watching that wind come in for us too. The White Rock Overlook, and then south. I mean, we're super rural. You get to Shores Lake. Shores Lake, if you live around Shores Lake, watch out for the gusty wind threat right along this leading edge, and that also comes out of the Salt Fork Creek. And then farther south towards, let's say 215, coming past the Dragon's Egg. If you guys have been there, it's a rock that kind of looks like an egg, and it's kind of even near a cave, so it looks like it's called Dragon's Egg. Dragon's Egg that we've done Adventure Arkansas is kind of cool, but it's about right here. I'm not sure if it's on Franklin County side or Crawford County side, but there's that estimation Stevens drawing, pushing this thing eastbound, 55 miles per hour or so. So winds coming into Mulberry here within the next minute or so. And Bidville, 124, Vesta 128, Ozark 134, so just after 130, and getting closer to 140 or so in Weederker Village as you get into eastern portions of Franklin County, getting close to the Johnson County line. I'm going to move it a little bit farther north. Let's check in on northwest Arkansas right now. Let's see. Let me move this. All right, it looks like the strongest winds are now over Prairie Creek, pushing in over Beaver Lake. You get south into Springdale, though, just because of the tilt, that's where the winds start to pick up once again. This is mainly in the kind of from downtown, right over the airport, and then eastbound. Once you get past Tractor Supply on 412 and you're headed towards Sonora, they're towards the Sonora Middle School and Elementary School. They're right next to each other, right off Highway 412, and you go eastbound towards Huntsville. That's where we're watching the wind right now in northern Washington County. In Fayetteville, it's coming into town right now. You see the joint there as you just go north of the Fort Bragg Expressway. Wind coming in from us, wind on the west side of the interstate. So on Weddington, that's past going westbound towards that Planet Fitness and the Freddy's, and then you head west towards the Animal Hospital. On MLK, you go westbound towards the Lowe's and the Walmart. That's where we have the wind right now. It's going to be crossing the state line as we speak. So right there by the university, getting very windy at the U of A, downtown Fayetteville, there towards the courthouse, wind coming in for us too. Maybe another minute or so once we get towards Mission. And then as you head farther east of town, there are along 265. Let's see, about 265 in Mission, Old Wire Road, Gully Park, Wilson Park. Give us a couple more minutes and it'll be blowing through for us. Goshen and Elkins, we still have a handful of minutes. There's a new scan coming in for the radar. Heaviest rain right along the interstate from Johnson and Tyson headquarters south into Fayetteville, all the way from the Stephen Carr exit and Garland Avenue, all the way south through MLK. Greenland picking that up too. Wind coming through for us, and wind's going to be coming into Goshen and Elkins here within the next few minutes. You go farther west, though, we still have some wind. It's still kind of breezy across the rest of Benton County, but it's now switched directions. You're now getting a westerly wind as these storms start to blow through. Got a report from the Fort Smith Airport of a 53-mile-per-hour wind. Let's go a little bit farther south. Severe thunderstorm warnings extended into Carroll County and the majority of Madison County. Heavy rain comes in, wind picks up for you guys. So Huntsville, Japton, Hinesville, we're next. We're going to be watching this wind come in. Now, this line's very thin, so once the dark reds pass by your town, your guys are good. In fact, Fort Smith, now in the clear overall for the night. You can head to bed okay. Let's start doing that. We're going to give some updates on who can go to bed just fine. Van Buren, Fort Smith, you're in the clear. Salisaw, Gore, Vian, Uniontown, Cedarville, you're in the clear. Dean Springs and Chester, you're in the warning still, but the wind threat's pushed out. You're in the clear. Chester, Dean Springs. Greenwood, we're almost in the clear. It looks like the rain's just over us, and it's not going to last very long. The band is really skinny over us, and we don't have the warning. Kind of breezy as that wind passes, as that line passes through. Greenwood, we're just about in the clear. Jenny Lind Road, you go to Vian. Vian's, of course, included in that clear mode as well. But Vienna Hills, Rye Hills, Riley Farms, you guys are included on the clear. Van Buren, you're in the clear too. Alma, we're in the clear. You head farther south, Poto, Spiro, Panama, Shady Point, we're all in the clear. Hackett, Mansfield, you're all in the clear as well. Here's a wider view. Let's see, farther south. Guys, this thing is really weak for Scott County and Logan County. We don't even have a warning. We're watching this stuff, and guys, it continues to weaken. And we've been talking about that. As just these storms were going to be weakening as they move in from the west. So Logan County, this thing's super weak. We'll watch it, but gosh, this thing's weak. Greenwood, we're pretty much in the clear now. Rain coming in over us now, but it's about to end here shortly. Blansett, Waldron, Mansfield, Huntington, we're in the clear too. I'll move it farther north. Bentonville, we're in the clear. Most of Rogers, now downtown Rogers is more in the clear. The south side of Rogers kind of still getting some of that heavy rain, but we're pretty much in the clear for most of Rogers. Gentry, Decatur, Gravette, Sulphur Springs, Siloam Springs, Watts, Prairie Grove, Farmington, Dutch Mills, Lincoln, your guys are in the clear too. Still that narrow band of storms has the leading edge of the wind, and that's marching eastbound. Eureka Springs, Berryville, we're included on the severe thunderstorm warning. In fact, it's just about to get towards the eastern end of Beaver Lake. It's the wind threat's about to cross over from Benton County into Carroll County, at least there by the lake. A little bit farther south, there towards Camp War Eagle, we still got some wind coming for us at the camp. Doing a lot of prep work before the summer season gets here. Let's see. All right, let's see what those are. There you go.
past Rogers, that's when we're starting to see that bow. Garfield, you're seeing some really strong wind gusts right now, heading into War Eagle. That line's just west of you, moving more into southern portions of Missouri. Then we've got some just heavy downpours across Fayetteville right now, starting to move across center portions of Washington County. And then here's the other spot that we're watching right now with some really, really strong wind gusts. We've talked, we had our Alerting Arkansas airs tonight, talking about those phone alert systems. So we've had some reports of code red going off in Ozark. So that line is heading right into Ozark right there. Whenever we start to see this bow, this is past Alma, on the east side of 49 is where we're really starting to watch the second bow where the strong wind gusts are coming in. That's our second spot to look at. So again, across extremely northern portions of Benton and Carroll counties, and then just moving east of 49, riding right along. If you're heading eastbound on I-40, heading towards Clarksville, that's where our greatest threat of some wind gusts right now. Clarksville, you're still a far way out. You're not going to, if you're heading eastbound right now on 40, that's where our strongest wind gusts are going to be.
Looks like it's crossing over Mulberry right now. There along 215, you go north, especially north of the interstate, is where the strongest wind will be. But Mulberry, we've got the wind for us. Let's see, you go past the River Adventures place where you got the kayaks. You can go. Mulberry's a lot of fun. We're adding a lot of water to the Mulberry too. We've had several storm rounds that we've had to add a lot of water, but they're over Mulberry. White Rock, more the little township that's just outside the mountains, and the White Rock Mountain itself higher up. Winds coming in for us. They're by the Ham Cemetery. Cravens, you're going to be getting that wind too. Most of this can be north of the Arkansas River, though. You can kind of see the river on the map there. You see how it bends right there. Wind coming through for us. But this red portion in this storm is the strongest part for Franklin County. And right along that leading edge, that's where we're watching this wind.
We've been on TV for a while. You want to go ahead and just do
yeah, let's go ahead and cut the Channel 5 part. We're going to stay on digital platforms. All right, so what we're going to do is, because the severe threat's really gone down. I mean, we're right along borderline. We're going to continue coverage on our 5 Plus app, our 5 News app, on the website, and on YouTube and Facebook. So there's still plenty of ways to get your weather information. We're going to take it off 5 News, and we'll continue to give the latest updates on our digital platforms. Make sure you always keep it here, keep it local, and we'll keep you advised. We'll see you on the digital streams.
were forced to play as their fellow Jews were sent to their deaths. On this night, a restored violin sang once again with the Louisiana Philharmonic Orchestra. Violinist Philippe Quint lost family during the Holocaust.
What a great way for future generations in terms of education, in terms of never repeating something like this again.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Are we good? All right, we are back. All right, so thank you for joining us on our live streams. We've been on Channel 5 itself. Severe threats really going down, but we want to continue to give you weather information on our digital platforms. Once again, line of storms coming through northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Fayetteville getting some of that wind too. Look how that line's really broken up too. Mm-hmm. That latest scan coming in. Guys, these things are falling apart fast. Nope. There.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're good, you're good. We both have access to the mouse, and so sometimes we're like, all right. So it looks like, you know, for the River Valley, the strongest winds pushing across Franklin County from Mulberry north. Ozark, we're going to get kind of hit with that too. Altus, Whitaker Village, Watalula, they're on the south fringes, or the southern fringes of the Boston Mountains. Those winds coming through for us here within the next 5 to 10 minutes, if it's not already at your house, there towards Mulberry. But Ozark, maybe another 5 minutes or so. Farther north in northwest Arkansas, Let's see. The line's really breaking up over time. Still got some wind. Severe storms coming towards Huntsville and severe storms coming towards Carroll County, but this storm is weakening quite a bit. We got a report of winds about 56 miles per hour coming through Fayetteville there at Drake Field. This storm's kind of collapsing though, and so what can sometimes happen when these storms collapse is they kind of have one more gust of wind. It's kind of taking one big breath and a final sigh, but with that final sigh, you just kind of bust the wind out a little bit. So we'll watch that. That's moving eastbound. County line between Washington County and Madison County. This thing's coming in for us too. Japton, Huntsville, we're kind of next. Most of the storms in Benton County have pretty much left. We still have some of the heavy rain over Beaver Lake, but the populated areas, unless you're kind of near Horseshoe Bend or in some of those marinas, most of the storm itself is really pushed out of the metros of Benton County, Bentonville and Rogers, south into Springdale. We kind of are starting to wrap up. Fayetteville, the rain's really started to weaken for us. It's still on the east side there towards Goshen, headed into Sonora too, as it makes that northeast track. And then in the mountains, we've kind of weakened the storm as well. The line's kind of fallen apart, but we still have that gusty wind threat coming through Franklin County right now. You can see some of the towns. Mulberry, we just got hit in extreme eastern Crawford County. And then Pleasant View, once you cross the county line, we've got it. This headed towards Jethro, Ozark, Webb City, Whitaker Village, Altus, Sullivan, Crossroads, Barnes and Mountaintop, and Waterloo. That's where we're watching next. Let's see. So don't be surprised if you see some limbs down tomorrow morning, maybe even see them out there tonight. Watch out for those. Let us know if you saw any kind of reports and send those reports into 5 News. If you have the 5 News app, all you have to do, I believe you can just go to the weather page and you can scroll down. I think it's still an orange button. Submit your photo, and we'd love to try to see those, and we can send those off to the National Weather Service as well. Are you seeing anything, Stephen?
We're just answering some Facebook Live questions right now. Main question is, where is clear and where is not? Just a little bit ago, we we were going through places that are in the clear right now. So let's kind of go over that again real quick. We're going to start in the River Valley, where we still have this severe thunderstorm warning stretches from the state line with Missouri all the way south of I-40. So right now we still got this bow that's moving just outside Ozark area, heading eastbound on I-40, just past Mountainburg. Saw some heavy wind gusts. That's still something to watch right there. If we move further down south, Charleston, you're about to get some heavy wind gusts. Lavaca, you just saw those heavy wind gusts move through. Greenwood, you're in the clear. Mansfield, you're just finally seeing the end of those heavy wind gusts really start to clear out of there. Logan County, you're most likely not going to see some really damaging, threatening wind gusts. You're right on the edge of where that looks like we got an update on that severe thunderstorm warning. Severe thunderstorm warning is going to continue. They're extending the severe thunderstorm warning. The update is, though, if you remember from our severe thunderstorm warning previous, it was 70 miles an hour. Good news is we're only at 60 right now. So we are just above the severe limits right now, whereas bare minimum as it could get for those severe thunderstorm warnings. Still could see some damaging wind gusts, those wind gusts peaking up near 60 miles per hour. But it's right at there. We're getting some storm reports starting to come in from the National Weather Service. Fort Smith, looks like we have some law enforcement reporting towards power lines down. I had that pulled up. Let me refresh this real quick.
Yeah,
you won't see it on the map. You won't see it on the screen right here, but I'll be able to tell you. Sebastian County looks like about 350 people are out of power in the county right now. Crawford, only 82. Scott County, only 50. Logan, 130. These might not even relate because Logan hasn't seen anything yet, so this might not even be related to the storms. Benton County is our highest total right now at over 2,000 people out of power across Benton County. So not crazy numbers. Still, this is all fueled by our thunderstorms that moved through. But River Valley, not seeing a whole lot of power outages. The biggest power outage we're seeing in the River Valley is in Sebastian County at 350. Benton County is seeing over 2,000 though, so we'll continue to update you on that for power outages throughout the night.
I was just looking For Oklahoma, they've got 56,000 power outages where the winds were a lot stronger. Steven's been watching all evening long with those storms as they blasted through Oklahoma City and Stillwater and Norman, and tornadoes touched down in central Oklahoma as well. You've probably seen some pictures too coming in from central Oklahoma. Lots of damage reported there. All right, you see the warning flashing. That's because National Weather Service reissuing and trimming back off towards the west. Sebastian County, no longer a severe thunderstorm warning at all. I'd say most of Logan County, you're fine tonight. You don't have to worry. Scott County, we're good. Sebastian County, we're good. Crawford County, we are good now. Washington County, we're just about done. Unless you live by the state line going into Madison County, you're good. Fayetteville, Springdale, you're good. Rogers, Bentonville, we're also pretty good too. That line now really crossing into Carroll County and Madison County as it continues its journey towards the east. But still some gusty winds that could be blowing through with this storm, up to 60 miles per hour or so. So right at the low end of severe limits as this thing blasts through. On the backside, you get some heavy rain. Just for fun, let's take a closer look at some quick timings for the rest. Are you getting it?
No, I'm
Okay.
working with our live stream.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right, that works. Okay. So for Eureka Springs, coming in here within the next 5 to 10 minutes. Berryville, closer to 10 minutes or so. Let's see. I remember all the top of my head. Okay. Coming through, let's see right now. Even on the backside of the storm, I'm looking at some wind speeds just farther towards the south right now. As you head, looks like we got a tornado warning north of Joplin. That line extends all the way north to the Kansas City area.
Well, Matt's working on that. Well, let's get you an update on National Weather Service. We kind of gave you a brief outlook there. Fort Smith, we got some down power lines. For law enforcement has already responded towards that. We got that continuation of that severe thunderstorm warning going all the way out until 2 a.m. now as we head into Benton, Carroll, Crawford, Franklin, and Madison and Washington counties. Severe gusts remain possible along the line of storms moving across northwest Arkansas is the latest update from National Weather Service. I'm assuming they're meeting the one in Carroll County. That verbiage just came from the National Weather Service. So that line moving out of northwest Arkansas, out of Carroll County into south central Missouri is that line that they're tracking right now. We're still watching that line moving eastbound on I-40. The latest updates, let's see here, Sebastian County, that's severe thunderstorm warning has been canceled. You're in the clear. Just looks like some heavy rainfall in the back half of this line of thunderstorms.
And Stephen, I'm looking at some of the wind reports across Oklahoma just as soon as you cross the state line. Sallisaw, Podo, north to Westville. We're getting wind gusts between 25 to 40 miles per hour. So that's not as gusty as when the storms came on through. But you know how sometimes after a storm, the atmosphere can get kind of calm for a little bit. Not the case this time. This time we've got a nice westerly wind, a westerly wind coming in from Oklahoma, a very dry wind. Once the rain ends, it's going to be breezy tonight overall. So keep that in mind. It's going to just stay very windy. We've got wind advisories in place. The yellow color shows you the severe thunderstorm warnings that we have. Estimating still those winds getting close to and just north of I-40 right now. There towards Watalula, Ozark, we're about to get some of that too. Wind blowing through Barnes, Mountaintop, and then north into White Rock, the overlook there. It does extend south to Charleston and Branch, but not into Logan County. Peter Pender, Meg, Etna, Cecil, and Vesta were all included in that severe thunderstorm warning, but winds could still be up to 60 miles per hour as they push on through. What I'm going to do next is, here's a wide view of the area, 5 country, and then kind of show you what we've been through throughout the day. So I'm going to show you the radar, and then we're just going to go over the past 4 hours or so. I'm going to speed this up just a little bit.
To remind people of what we've seen over the past 4 hours, Matt, while you're setting this up, we had that tornado warning. First we had that severe thunderstorm warning that made its way into northwest Arkansas and portions of Sebastian and Crawford County. And then we had that tornado warning. That was due to radar indicated rotation. We never had radar confirmed rotation, so there still might be some damage where we were monitoring that notch in the line of thunderstorms, but it was never confirmed by the National Weather Service. So we won't know until the National Weather Service sends out those survey teams to determine whether or not there might have been a twister that hit the ground or not. So that was our only tornado warning. Then we watched Pea Ridge. Pea Ridge had some slight circulation. Never had a tornado warning for that. We just had some eyes on some rotation. It seems like that maybe spun up just a little bit and then kind of faded away. So throughout this whole evening, we've had severe thunderstorm warnings. We've had strong wind gusts. We've had those wind gusts peaking up near 60+ miles per hour. That's when we start to get those severe thunderstorm warnings. But we've only had the one tornado warning, and that was only for radar indicated rotation. And Matt, you're showing those storm reports across Oklahoma. They absolutely, Oklahoma City, really bad shape tonight.
Yeah, here's just zooming in. So you see the progression of this line, and you can see how it does weaken as it's moved from western Oklahoma all the way to eastern Oklahoma and in western Arkansas. You can see that trajectory, and as the storms have passed on through, you see the reports. So we've had some tornado reports across Oklahoma, and then multiple around Oklahoma City. On top of that, no longer, not only did we have the tornadoes touch down, but we also had a lot of wind with these storms. And then notice over time, those wind reports become a little bit less numerous, but very windy reports over Texas into Oklahoma. And then even now here at home, we've had some wind reports. We've had some power flashes. We've had a couple trees down. We've even had a couple power lines down. I think we had that report in Fort Smith where some power lines were down, and a couple thousand people without power just across western Arkansas in general. Oklahoma, about 56,000 power outages across the entire state, but centered especially from Oklahoma City and south there towards, I think it's Cleveland County. We've got a lot of power outages at this time.
They're in Norman.
Yeah.
So they've obviously been tracking this throughout the rest of the night. Tulsa is who we respond to, and then Little Rock, obviously. So that National Weather Service in Norman and Oklahoma City saw probably the worst of the storms moving across Oklahoma tonight. And then again in the Panhandle, Texas Panhandle saw some of those twisters as well.
Sure. What a crazy day it's been. All right, so the line itself is starting to push out. It's pretty much completely out of the metros in northwest Arkansas. This is mainly Carroll County and Madison County now with these storms. We may get another trimming, or they may just go ahead and leave it until, I think, 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
Is it 2? Okay,
so
2 o'clock.
We got 17 minutes.
However, this line, which kind of seems to be one of the gustiest portions, it gets harder to estimate some of the northern fringes. This line is about to hit Johnson County. We'll see if there is a new severe thunderstorm warning that goes for Johnson County. Right now in Clarksville, we've got a good band of rain coming in for a second, but then after that, it's just kind of breezy overall overnight tonight. But that wind threat is mainly for along and north of the Arkansas River. Quick few gusts, 60 miles per hour, even though it's been breezy already. We've had wind speeds 30, 40, even up to 50 miles per hour for many of us throughout the evening. We're right along the leading edges where we get that quick bump to 60, and then it goes back down a little bit. It's still going to be breezy overnight, but that's just passed through Ozark, or just coming into Ozark right now. And Waterloo, we're about to get some of that rain. It's just now coming into the west side of town. So in the Waterloo area, we're coming into, they're north on 219, and then on the old Pig Trail, we've got that wind just north of White Oak. You got something, Stephen?
While these reports are not coming out of National Weather Service, or people joining us on our Facebook Live are starting to give some of their own storm reports. It looks like we're starting to pick up on the power outages just a bit. It looks like places across Fort Smith, like we talked about, a couple hundred power outages there. Power out in Boonville. We're starting to see it, and a lot of these comments right now on our Facebook live stream. If you have any questions, go ahead and put it in there. But a lot of them are saying this line of thunderstorms has moved past me. Why, Matt and Steven, is it still so windy out?
Yeah.
We're going to have this wind advisory until 6 a.m. into Monday morning. These wind gusts all coming up from the south are going to remain below the severe limit, definitely, but anywhere from 20 to 45 mile per hour wind gusts still. So it's not damaging. You could see some small trees, some of that brush started to get pushed over by that, but it's still going to be windy well into Monday. And if we got some good news, Matt, Monday and Tuesday, all this wind still coming up from the south.
Yeah.
Sunshine and temperatures going to be in the 60s and 70s.
Nice forecast.
So we just got to get past this morning hours. That's a good part to kind of move into as well. While we're kind of seeing the severe limit starting to calm down now. We're still watching a few places across Madison County and then moving into Ozark right now. But for the most part, we're really just going to see that rainfall last until around 6, 7, 8 a.m. Just rainfall. And then we start to clear out as we head into the late afternoon. And we got this warning flashing right now, and it's not extended. It is just being trimmed. That's a good news. This is one of our first warnings that we've seen now trimmed instead of extended. So they're trimming that warning, cutting out the rest of, I'm trying to look in between the flashes here. I think they're trimming that down out of Washington County.
Yeah, I think Washington County's in the clear now.
Washington and Benton County working all the way.
Yep.
They might be working on this whole thing. Yeah, so they're just keeping it into Carroll, Madison, and that's where our severe thunderstorm is kind of weakening right now. And then parts of the River Valley starting to see that line right there. Let's zoom into that real quick, Matt. Do you have any wind gusts just outside Clarksville?
Yeah, I'm going to estimate those. It's a little bit tricky with the radar beam going a little bit higher, but generally coming through Ozark and Watalula, we've got 50 to 60 mile per hour winds. In Clarksville, we already have 30 to 40 mile per hour winds, sometimes gusting near 50. Mm-hmm. So here's the crazy thing, and the folks on Facebook and YouTube are bringing this up. It's still windy after the storms. And what's crazy is that we could still get power outages. Stephen, you had a report from Boonville. Boonville, we haven't even had
the storms move in yet. Again, so that could be unrelated. All we know is there was power outages in Boonville, but to have 130 out, it could just be because of those wind gusts below severe limits, but still around 45 to 50 miles per hour.
Exactly, and especially when they last for a long time. Mm-hmm. If we can even get the winds like you were talking about up to 40 miles per hour for the next 4 or 5 hours, pretty much all the way up until you wake up tomorrow morning, that just gives you more opportunity to try to finally break that tree limb that hits a power line and causes a power outages. So just keep that in mind. Just the sustained winds for a long time tonight could cause you to lose power. Might be a good idea. Keep the phone charged overnight. Make sure you actually go over to the plug and actually plug it in tonight. Don't wait until tomorrow morning just in case you do lose power. But a lot of us should be fine, but there could be some of those isolated power outages. You don't want to be stuck in that. But right now we've got that severe thunderstorm warning. Like Steven said, it's trimmed. It's about to cross into Johnson County here shortly, but that wind is mainly in the mountains right now, north of Ozark and Cecil. We've got the wind for us, but it's definitely stronger in the mountains right now. And then farther north into Madison County, fairly strong as well, although a lot of that's really breaking up. It looks like still kind of a nice line pushing through parts of Carroll County on the eastern end of Beaver Lake. You see the blue there kind of in between the scans. Eureka Springs, Beaver, Berryville, getting that rain for us too. But what we're going to do is it looks like most of the severe threat is now in the mountains and about to end. We are going to go ahead and wrap things up tonight. Once again, like Steven said, we still got windy conditions. They're going to last on and off tonight, and it's going to be a very westerly wind tomorrow. The clouds should eventually break up. It was very gloomy today. We're going to eventually get more sun. We're going to kind of stay on the warm side because the front that's passing through right now is not going to make winds come out really of the north. They're going to be just due west. And so those continue to kind of keep us warm, but definitely drier headed into your Monday. Time right now is 1:49. We appreciate you staying with us. We're still watching some windy conditions, but just expect breezy conditions all across 5 country tonight. And then especially south of I-40, just some rain coming through. from I-40 northbound, there could still be a quick downpour. We've got these little downpours coming into northwest Arkansas. They're not severe. They're just kind of a result after that cold air is coming in. You create a few more showers that will be wrung out a little bit. But we're going to wrap things up. Line starting to come through across the state line. Not across the state, right across the county line from Franklin County into Johnson County. Clarksville, we've got some rain coming up in the next 15, 20 minutes. And then, but it's not, this time it's not severe. You're kind of just barely at the severe limits in Franklin County. It's definitely weakening as it pushes into Johnson County. We'll watch it still. We'll give you an update if it starts to strengthen back up, but we definitely weaken these storms quite a bit as they march throughout the River Valley. We appreciate you keeping it here. Make sure you keep it local, and as always, we'll keep you advised.